Welcome to the Scott Townsend Show, brought to you by Dietzo Man Productions.
And you get a coat that night before you go to bed. You know, sometime, like I think mine was at like 7 p.m. The night before. And then they don't do your face. They do everything but your face. And again, I don't know why they don't do your face. My guess is just so you don't get tan all over the pillow.
Right.
I have to pay the hotel for that. But my next coat was like 7 in the morning, because you know the show starts at 8:30, so you don't want to have conflicting schedules there. So the earlier the 10 in the morning, I mean, it sucks to get up early, but I want it as early as I can, so I have time to adjust,
right,
and pump up backstage and carb up and stuff. So, and man, that tanning is cold. It's cold in the room already, and then they spray you with basically liquid nitrogen stuff called tan.
It is the Scott Townsend. Welcome back to the Scott Townsend Show. And today I have with me special guest, bodybuilder extraordinaire, Nolan Townsend. Nolan, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Got my record button hit, so.
There we go.
Just so you all know, those of you watching and listening, we did this interview a day or two ago for almost a full hour, and then I realized I hadn't hit record. What an idiot. So, God, gotta have checklists, baby. Gotta have checklists. So, okay. So thanks, Nolan, for agreeing to do this one more time. Today, the reason why I wanted to have you on the show is because you did something extraordinary. And it is you went from I would say from a physical standpoint, you went from, I wouldn't say the average Joe body. I'm probably a little bit better than the average Joe, you know. But still, I mean, you went from, I don't want to call it zero, but really you went from zero to hero in a matter of a year or so.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to have you on and talk about that journey, and talk about that story. Man, I'm gonna flash a picture up here. This picture here we're looking at is a picture of Nolan before and after. And as you can see, that's what I'm talking about. That the before picture, which is not a bad picture. I mean, it's great, you know. Most people would, myself included, be able to be glad to have those kind of proportions, but you took it to a whole nother level, and as you can see on the after photo, that's kind of what you came up with. So how do you do that, man? How does a person go from zero to hero like that? Let's hear the story. I want to hear the story.
So I got to the before picture. That was, you know, a result of quarantine, being locked in the house.
Right.
And man, to be honest, just not really. There was no physical activity to do, so everything opened back up, and my friends were going to the pool. You know, it was summertime, and I wasn't going. I was staying at the house. And people would invite me, you know, and I was like, oh no, you know, I got something to do. You know, I can't make it. And one of my good friends called me. He said, hey, man, like you're our guy. How come you're never at the pool? And for the first time, I kind of like admitted to myself and said out loud, really, I was like, man, I don't want to go because I don't like how I look with my shirt off, you know? And then he was like, okay, well, take care of that. I was like, you know, that's a good idea.
I'll just get right on that.
Yeah. So I was fortunate enough to, you know, a lot of my coworkers at work are bodybuilders, and so I got with one of them. He's an IFBB pro. His name is Dean Murray, and he gave me a diet plan to start out with, and I followed that and kind of did my own thing in the gym for a couple months, and I got down. I lost about 30 pounds in about, can't remember exactly, probably about 4 months.
Dang.
Yeah. And
what were you doing to do that?
we did I started in the beginning with just intermittent fasting, so you have like an 8-hour eating window. That was my own thing. So the first month and a half was just all me. I just kind of looked up online, and that worked. I lost like probably 8 pounds from that. And then Dean, who's my coach now, put me on a carb cycling diet, which is basically you'll have 3 low carb days in a row, and then you have a medium carb day, high carb day, medium, and then another 3 low. So it's like that. And it just keeps your body guessing. You can't do it forever because it's pretty aggressive. And it's kind of like the ace card, the last, card you'll pull when you're trying to get that fat off. So we did that, and it got me lean. I got down to 180, 181 eventually by the end of the summer. So I was hitting the pools.
Yeah.
And it was good. So then after we kind of got to that, he was like, well, man, you got the discipline. Do you want to do a bodybuilding show? I think you would do good at a bodybuilding show. I was like, well, we're here now. Let's do it. And I tried it out, and now, it's been a year since I made that decision, and I'll fall in love with it. Love it. So
it's been a year.
Yeah. Since I got down to like, in shape, I guess.
Right. So you did it. You went to your first bodybuilding competition there was in Austin or?
Yes, Austin. Yeah. Over at the Fairmont.
Over at the Fairmont. How'd that go?
It went well. I took second place in the men's novice division. So that was higher than I expected. My goal was to get in, top 5. I mean, second's definitely in the top 5. So I would have been happy with number 5, it'd be my first show. And that show, Republic, is no joke, one of the biggest shows. So
I noticed in your picture there, and it seems like all bodybuilders or competitors competing have this extreme tan going on.
Yeah.
And so what they do, you show up and they just put a spray can on you and
yeah. So some people get 3 coats. I think that's the other classes, like classic physique and open bodybuilding. But in men's, you get 2 coats. So you get there the day before the show, typically. And you get a coat that night before you go to bed, sometime. Like I think mine was at like 7 p.m. The night before. And then they don't do your face. They do everything but your face. And again, I don't know why they don't do your face. My guess is just so you don't get tan all over the pillow.
Right.
Pay the hotel for that. But then my next coat was like 7 in the morning, because the show starts at 8:30, so you don't want to have conflicting schedules there. So the earlier the 10 in the morning, I mean, it sucks to get up early, but I want it as early as I can, so I have time to adjust and pump up backstage and carb up and stuff. So, and man, that tanning is cold. It's cold in the room already, and then they spray you with basically liquid nitrogen stuff called tan.
Oh man, yeah. I went to a dermatologist and had this little thing removed, and they use this like liquid nitrogen thing, and it felt like they were shooting a syringe into my skin. It was so cold. It hurt so bad, man. Can't imagine someone spraying me down with liquid nitrogen all over.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was essentially cold. Liquid nitrogen. Yeah, it was cold stuff. Wet and cold, and you're not wearing anything. Yeah. And you turn around a room, and there's just nothing comforting about the room. It's just other naked guys.
Freezing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bunch of other cold guys. So you go into the competition, and you said you were hoping for place in the top 5. When I saw that picture of you guys on stage, I thought you really had good poise and form, and man, that guy to your left, when I saw that, I was like, oh
yeah,
what was that guy all about?
And that guy was cool. He I talked to him backstage. When we were back there pumping up, everybody's kind of looking at each other like, okay, so who's going to take second? He had a good, he probably had a good, 7 pounds of muscle on me, easily.
Yeah.
And he's just
tall, and
he's taller too. He was probably 6'2", 6'3". I'm 6'1". Yeah. In competition, actually, I'm barely 6 feet tall. The feet, because we have no fat, so the fat on bottom of my heels and top of my head isn't there, so you lose about an inch.
Well, I'll be.
Yeah. But yeah, he's a big dude. I walked on stage at 188, 189. He probably was, I don't know, probably 198, 200.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he looked good.
So he came in first, and I'll show that picture again here. Here's the guys all lined up, and yeah, that's a good lineup there. I was telling you earlier, I could see in your pose and your stance there that I thought you were at least number 2. That was my guess.
Yeah.
Number 2, and I could tell the guy on your right.
Right. Yeah.
Well, it didn't quite have the pose down. Looked like he was, I don't know, kind of phoning it in a little bit. I don't know, but
yeah, that's a thing that shout out to my coach for that one, because man, you worked really hard, you dieted all year long, and you were disciplined forever, and you're gonna go up there and lose positions because you didn't practice posing.
Yeah, tell me it ain't so.
Yeah,
you're not gonna do that.
No. So I'm gonna go out there, and my posing is gonna be perfect, because if I get beat, I want to know it's like, I'm not upset that I got beat by that guy who took first. Yeah, I did everything I could. He beat me.
Yeah,
he's bigger, he's better. I got a whole year to train off season and try to take him next year. But at the same time, props to him. I mean, he got it.
He got it. Yeah, that's great.
Before we continue, the best way to support the Scott Townsend Show is by telling friends, family members, and becoming a patron at patreon.com/the Scott Townsend Show. So yeah, we have awesome perks, personalized videos, personalized episodes, all kinds of cool stuff at different tier levels. Patreon allows us to do the show full-time, part-time, anytime. So thank you so much for your support.
So, so a year into it, so you love it now. I mean, I guess you'll do it again, sounds like.
Yeah. I found something I really like.
You were talking about last time you and I spoke, when I didn't hit the record button, was being tired because of you were so low on fat, energy, stored energy. What was that?
Yeah, you asking me what the hardest part of dieting was, and prep, and it is 100% fatigue. I mean, when I got to 6 weeks out, it was just another level of fatigue. Of course, most people start prep, teach his own, but most people start prep about 12 weeks out, and of course you're a little more tired when you start. But when you start getting down in the single-digit body fat percentages, really, you notice when you start getting about under 8%, that's when it starts to get a little rough. And the last 4 weeks, I mean, you're depleting. You're not just losing fat, but we got lean enough 2 weeks out. We didn't need to burn any more fat, but now we're depleting. We're manipulating water, and we're pulling out glycogen from the muscle. We're burning out all the blood sugar, so that when we go backstage the night before and the morning of, just pumping carbs in the body, hopefully hyper responds and just soaks them up like a sponge. And pull sub-Q water. So like the water between your muscle and skin, carbs carry water with them when you ingest them. So the hope is that any subcutaneous water, when you eat the carbs, it'll pull it out of the skin and into the muscle belly. So you have thinner skin, bigger muscle.
Mm.
So that's a lot of people mess it up. Nobody gets it down perfect, but that's the theory.
So that's how you get your skin against the muscle tight, like the head of a drum. It just sucks up against the muscle, and there's just nothing to grab, because it's like trying to grab a drum, the skin of the drum.
I'll stay pretty lean right now. I still can't really grab my skin on my arms. Crazy.
The hardest part, the hardest part of the whole journey, you said, what was the hardest part? Was it weightlifting? Was it what was the thing that you found most challenging?
Well, I mean, definitely fighting fatigue. Like, so still doing my daily responsibilities, like running the nightclub that I run, and taking care of the dog, doing everything that I normally do with absolutely zero energy. Weightlifting was more difficult. The thing with that is, like, the last 6 weeks is you're so depleted that you don't get that pump in the gym. So you're working out, you're not strong. You're about half as strong as you usually are, and you don't get the pump that you normally get. Like, if you go in the gym right now, start doing curls, you'll get a pump.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be doing curls and there's no pump. It's like, what's going on?
So so it sounds like the hard part was as a mind game, more of a mind game than anything else. Staying motivated, it's not even about motivation, really. It's just a commitment to a system, and being able to stick to a system, which a lot of people can't do.
Discipline is king in bodybuilding. I think Jocko Willink would be a great bodybuilder.
Yeah. Discipline equals freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can anybody do this? I mean, could you take just the Joe Schmo off the street and do an experiment and say, in a year's time, I'm going to take you from zero to hero? Can anybody do this, or do you have to be genetically predisposed, or what's the deal?
I think that both have to do with it. Just realized my battery was low. I think that genetics definitely have a role in it, in terms of, like, can you be a winner? You don't know what your muscles really look like until, like, how they're going to look on stage until you get lean. Your chest muscle might be shaped weird. You might just have a ugly chest, or your abs may be really unsymmetrical. So you could get lean and you could get big muscles and get really lean and get in crazy shape. But I mean, the thing about it is you're going to lose to the guy next to you who has better genetics, So there is that. And then also, I think that you have to be, if you're thinking about doing a show, you have to be a certain level of healthy going into it, because it's prep, the last 12 weeks before the show. I don't think that's a healthy lifestyle, but that's, luckily that's only 12 weeks out of the year.
Right.
So prior to that, taking every health supplement under the sun all year, and definitely in prep to stay healthy.
It's the extreme prep. All athletes go through that. Whether you're a tennis player, football player, track, there's a regimen, there's a process, and that process is what separates a lot of people from being able to compete, because they just can't hang with it. Yeah,
it's intense.
Can you do that? Can a person do this at home? I mean, like, if I were to say, here, I'm just going to work out here in my studio. Can I do this at home?
I don't think so. Like, for me, everybody has their setbacks. For me, I have my biggest problem working out in the gym is I have shoulder issues in both shoulders. So presses aren't good for me. Most of them, but there are machines that, have certain angles that my shoulders don't mind. So having those options for me is crucial. If I was sitting at home with some heavy dumbbells and, okay, so do some lateral raises and some shoulder presses, I'm just gonna be doing lateral raises.
Right.
There won't be any really variety in my routine. My shoulders will get used to that movement so fast, it'll just, you can only grow so much from one movement.
Yeah.
So there, maybe there's a genetic freak out there like Ronnie Coleman who could probably do it at home, but I mean, not for 99% of the population, you need a coach in a gym.
Yeah. I went to the doctor today and got another X-ray on my shoulder. I pulled the cord on the lawnmower, and it caught around the handle of my lawnmower. So when I reared back, it caught on the handle and my shoulder. Mm-hmm. It was like my body went this way. My arm was still holding on to the. Oh God. So anyway, they did a weighted X-ray today where they put a 50-pound weight in your hand and have you just relax your arm and help your shoulders, your joint right there kind of spread open a little bit so that they can get a shot inside there and see what's going on.
See what's going on with the rotator cuff.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. But
that all of prep. I was going to the chiropractor weekly, and because my rotator cuff the whole time was and still is inflamed back here. I'm just like everything we do in life when we're moving heavy things, like say even non-weightlifters often have some rotator cuff issue because we're all in front, we're pushing, we're lifting. It's all front, shoulder, and chest. So your posture gets like this. Yeah. And when that happens, this right here just gets stretched forward. It's all stressed out. So, and I've had some football injuries and stuff like that. So they're just, constantly working on that area, icing it down, doing those electrode things on it.
Yeah.
Keeping me right so I can keep lifting.
Yeah. That's cool. It's a shame that you have to go through something like that. But then once again, you got to do what you got to do to make it happen,
Yeah, I find a way to love it. I'm on the way to chiropractor. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing what it takes right now. Let's go.
What did this do for your confidence? I mean, what did you at some point in your journey there, when did you think, this might actually work?
Yeah, I would say about right around the time when I started prep. I had, I got with a really good coach who put a lot of muscle on me. He really kind of, luckily we have very similar body types. So he kind of like knows how, what workouts work. He would describe it as, it's like I'm training a younger me. I already know what works. He already got his pro card. He knows how to do this.
Right.
So, I became a bigger guy, and people, were noticing that I was getting compliments and stuff like that. But man, then when we got into prep, it was over after that. I started getting super lean, and everybody and their mom was like, man, look at you, because you're not just that guy. You go to the pool and there's that guy that's got the 6-pack and he's in shape. You're like, man, I wish I looked like that.
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks out, you make that guy look like trash. And so, man, the confidence is crazy. And, a lot of people get it, they call it a post-show depression, a couple weeks after the show when you're not just super jacked out of your mind, ripped. Yeah. People are like, oh, and there's this myth going around too that I won't get too far into this, but this bulking thing where you eat everything under the sun and get fat to gain more muscle. I don't believe that. I'm gonna just stay in a slight caloric surplus the whole time, so that when it's time to cut again, I don't have to go in a huge deficit, lose that muscle I worked so hard for, and just kill myself on the treadmill. I'll just gonna, nicely take it off and
take it easy on yourself.
Yeah, I think it'd be healthier that way too.
Yeah. Not so much work, smarter. Yeah,
not carrying around extra weight for your heart to have to work to pump that weight around.
Yeah.
in the off season.
How does a person measure success in this? Well, one thing is to win the competition or
Right.
place, but as you were going through this, how did you measure success for yourself? What were you looking for? I mean, besides the obvious.
Yeah, obviously I was trying to win. I was trying to place as good as I could. Leading up to the show, I was trying to become the best form of myself that I possibly could. Now I kind of have a better vision of what my goals are now. I want to beat myself this past year. So I want to come in. I know what my shortcomings were. My rhomboids, the muscles between shoulder blades, were too small, and my upper chest was too small. So those are two things that I'm going to be really pounding in the off season this year. So it would be, again, I could lose again next year, but if I come out and I effectively solve those problems, I mean, that's tangible results right there. That's it's like, okay, that was my goal. I did it. I got it. So, and I think if I achieve those, I don't think I will lose, but that's kind of, it's cool because it's something to work on, and there's no like right answer on how to do it. You just gotta figure it out.
Yeah.
And
you get as close as you can, but then you have to tweak it and make it your own.
Yeah, people will point you in the right direction. It's up to you to not only do the proper exercises, make that happen, but recover properly. And it's complicated, but that's what makes it so much fun.
So talk about recovery, talk about sleep. I mean, we talked about how people want to go to that gym, baby, and they want to, pump it up and get swole and all that stuff. And, everybody's looking at each other and got mirrors everywhere and blah, blah, blah. But really, it's in the bed when it's dark and no one can see. That's when your muscle.
Absolutely. You don't grow anything in the gym. This is when you break down muscle tissue.
Yeah.
And in fact, if you don't recover, you just got smaller. So, you're behind now. You were stronger when you walked in.
Wow. Yeah.
So
talk about that.
Yeah. So, a lot of people will come in, like I said, I work at a nightclub. They'll come in and they'll ask me, what's your secret? What's the secret to getting big? What's the secret to losing weight? And they're asking me this with a Jack and Coke in their hands. I'm like, okay, stop drinking that. That's not only bad calories will add fat, but it's also alcohol spikes cortisol levels, stress hormone. Stress hormone shuts down protein synthesis and upregulates fat storage. So cortisol is like, it's not like it's not altogether evil, but it's kind of your enemy in bodybuilding for the most part. When you wake up naturally in the morning, cortisol is what wakes you up. You get like a little adrenaline spike. That's why you wake up. So you need it, right? You can't just be asleep your whole life.
Right.
But there's proper times to have it. But in recovery, you got to eat. You got to kind of figure out what your maintenance level calories are to maintain your body weight. And if you want to gain muscle, then you have to eat a little bit of surplus to make sure that, you have to gain weight. Obviously, you have to eat more than maintenance. And to lose weight, you have to eat less than maintenance. But in prep, now, that you mentioned recovery, really like you said, resting in the dark in bed is like, recovery is super important in prep, because think about it, you're in a caloric deficit, you're burning fat, you're trying to get super shredded, but you're not eating enough to fully recover. So if you're not eating enough, up your sleep, don't do so much. You'll be running around going to the pool and going to the mall and hanging out and doing this and that and the other because you're burning more calories, and when you don't have enough calories, your cortisol is the enemy here. Not enough sleep ups cortisol. Not enough rest ups your cortisol. Not enough food, more cortisol. So it's all about kind of controlling that.
You're right. And I just get the impression, I don't know, I haven't done any research or anything, but it just seems to me that people don't think about that enough, that portion of the program. Yeah. And
absolutely,
that's it's funny that that's probably one of the biggest contributors to the winners, is being able to rest, sleep, and just go with the system, just play the system. If
Yeah,
your body, if that's how it recovers, play it.
Yeah, it's managing stress. It's kind of like the rest of life. Like you don't want to let yourself get in too much stress. You don't want to take on too much stress. Is going to affect your success in any category. My coach, since he works with me, he'd be, when I was 2-3 weeks out, he was very protective. Like if because as a manager of a nightclub, I'm kind of dealing with everybody's BS.
Yeah.
When something bad happens, I'm the one that goes and addresses it. So I would go and he would go right with me. If somebody starts yelling at me or cussing me out, he would step in front and be like, "Hey, I got this. Why don't you go sit in the office? I don't want you to take on this. You need to go, chill." So that was nice to have him around,
Yeah.
But it's that important. He would see stress as that, like that was a threat to him. He's like, that's going to hurt your possibilities of success, talking to this angry person right now.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Somebody watching, listening to this says, I think I might want to try at least try to get in better shape. What's a beginner? I might not want to be a bodybuilder, but I might want to just get in overall better shape. What's a good way to start?
The best way to start is if there's like two things for sure. The first thing is if you're serious about getting in shape, you got to cut out alcohol completely. If you're drinking alcohol, it's got to go. And then number two is fasted cardio in the morning. So before you eat anything, you can have water or black coffee, non-caloric beverages. And coffee's nice because it speeds up your metabolism a little bit. So, but you do fasted cardio and it can be easy. You can do, like a 6% incline, 2.5 miles an hour for 30 minutes. That's not crazy. You'll probably burn close to 200 calories that way over the span of 30 minutes. And you do that every day for a month and cut out alcohol, you will see results 100%. Yeah. As long as you're not eating, McDonald's breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Yeah, that's cool. And of course, check with your doctor first before you start any kind of exercise regimen.
Right.
Just to make sure that you're all right and everything's up to speed.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's probably a truck driver out there listening to this, driving down the highway in the middle of the night, thinking, man, I really need to get in better shape,
Yeah.
Or there's somebody out there walking their dog thinking, I could do that. So, yeah, I mean, if anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, how does someone get in touch with you? Say, hey, Nolan, so are you taking on any clients? Are you taking on people?
Yeah, I am.
Are you?
I am. I have a guy right now who I've had him for 7 weeks and he has dropped 6% body fat in 7 weeks. Yeah. And he's gained 2 pounds of muscle. Crazy. He's got amazing genetics. He's improving faster than I did.
Wow.
So he's pumped now. He's, he was out of shape, and you drop 6%, people notice,
Yeah.
And he's pumped now. He said, "Hey, what are we hitting in the gym today? What are we training today?" And then I got a bikini competitor client as well. So and we did a little local competition, and she went up against 36 other girls and beat all of them, baby.
Oh, good job.
So,
all right. So, okay. Yeah. So, if anybody has any questions or wants to, can people get in touch with you if they have questions about this?
Yeah. Instagram is the best way.
Okay.
And it's just my name, Nolan Townsend.
Okay.
NOLANTOWNSEND. Yeah.
Cool. Sure. Yeah, got good pictures there and some good and just the visuals alone will convince you that Nolan knows what he's talking about. So yeah, reach out to Nolan if you have any questions or want to take the next step. I'm sure that there's just a limited number of people that you would even want to take on, but only those serious enough to try it should inquire.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Only serious inquiries.
Yep.
Well, anything else? bodybuilding? Oh, so do you just go around and take your shirt off everywhere you go now and just?
Oh man, at this point, I think I wear more clothes than usual now. Because a lot of people just, hey, oh, look at you, oh, I'm so jacked. I can't tell what's compliments and who's blowing sunshine. So I just
Yeah.
At this point, I'm a topic of conversation just walking by.
Oh man,
It's hoodies and double XL t-shirts now.
Yeah.
Like this one.
You said you're going to start a podcast. Is that still going to happen?
Yes. So we filmed our first video this past Monday, and it was about this one was about prep and what prep is like, the 12 weeks of grind time. We're going to be shooting a video every Monday. So we haven't aired any of them yet, but we're kind of getting our inventory set up right now to get some consistent work put out there.
Right. Yeah. That's good.
I think our next video, I was talking to the guys and they're other competitor friends of mine. The next one's going to be more kind of like what we talked about just now, more of a lifestyle client, like what they would want to know, like, kind of beginnings, like what should I do to lose weight? I'm not trying to be a bodybuilder or go crazy, but I want to get myself in better shape. And we're going to address those topics.
Which is more important, do you think? Your diet or your exercise?
Diet. 100%. I think to me, diet is 75%. The exercise is 25. I mean, you need the exercise. Nothing happens without the exercise in terms of gaining muscle size, I guess. But you could change your diet, never go to the gym, and lose weight. And look healthier.
Yeah.
And probably maybe even gain a little bit of muscle if your diet's just terrible. Right now as it is.
Yeah. Huh. So I guess why don't you lay off the Lay's dill pickled potato chips. Celeste found some of those the other day, and ooh, they're good. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for muffins, man. I gotta stay away from those things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just get that craving, came out of nowhere in prep. I woke up and I was like, I need a muffin. And every time I go to H-E-B, man, every time I walk in, that's our grocery store here.
Yeah.
Every time I walk in, there's the first thing in front of it, as the door slide open, it's just a whole thing of muffins. I'm like, come on, man.
It's not fair.
Yeah, not cool, man. I got to look at that every time.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say mucilix or something.
Yeah. That's the older brother.
A little inside joke there. So yeah. I was doing my x-ray today, and she goes, okay, go ahead and take off your shirt. And I was like, okay. So I'm standing there with my keg gut and moobs, and I was thinking, man, I sure wish I looked just a little bit better than I do right now, but oh well, who am I trying to impress? And then I knew you and I were going to be talking today, and I was like, what would it be like if I was like Nolan and I go in there and they take x-rays? And I'm sure that they would be amazed at the physique and have to make a comment.
Yeah.
Of course, when you're big and sloppy like I am, they're not going to say anything because they don't want to hurt your feelings, but when you're looking really good, they got to say something.
Yeah, they're like, oh, okay, so do you lift weights?
No, not really.
No.
Occasionally.
Yeah.
But well, good luck on your podcast. Good luck on your prep for the next show, and we'll have you back and talk some more about your continued journey there with the podcast and with bodybuilding, and maybe we'll even talk a little business, customer service. You running that little social lounge place over there and have had some good success with that. So yeah, seems as though you've got the Midas touch. Keep up the good work.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll do.
So, all right. Well, for Nolan Townsend, this is Scott Townsend. Oh, by the way, and so Nolan is the son of the executive producer of the Scott Townsend Show, Ben Townsend, and he's the cousin of the creative consultant, Matthew Townsend of the Scott Townsend Show. So there's just Townsends everywhere around
Yep, it's a family business.
here. That's right. So for Nolan Townsend, this is Scott Townsend. Thanks for watching and listening to the Scott Townsend Show. Have a great day. Everything's going to be all right. And we'll talk to you later.
The Scott Townsend Show is a Dietzo Man production. For more episodes, visit the Scott Townsend Show YouTube channel, listen on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.